So I think one of the early things that a lot of companies noticed is that they were doing what I would call like random acts of marketing, right? They're doing all sorts of just random stuff. This week we're doing this, next week we're doing that. Then we'll launch a podcast, then a webinar. Should we write a blog? Sure. Maybe we send out an email next week. Like there's just random, just taking shots in the dark of what to do for marketing. So they tried to solve that and they tried to fix it. The problem is I kept hearing B2B is boring. B2B marketing is boring. It's boring. B2B is boring. It was everywhere. It was all over LinkedIn. It was in all the communities I was in. And I was like sitting down and I'm like, why is this so? I didn't disagree with the premise. A lot of it is boring. And I'm like, why? And I
Mm,
realized I looked back at my own experiences. I looked back, I've interviewed, 20 plus marketing leaders at this point for my newsletter, all these different things. And I was like, I know why it's boring. It's because everybody's just running it off a spreadsheet or
yeah.
Asana or Trello, or I don't care what you're using to organize it, but it's a blog a week, a podcast every other week, one webinar per month, one email. Like it's just a number per time. And they're just going down and checking the boxes. All right, did I do my blog? Good. Got it out the door. Next, 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 next. And it was the same thing when I was in house. We were
Mhm.
working harder than ever. We were producing more than ever and the numbers were not going up. And I was like, we're doing just boring generic work at scale, as one says in tech.
Mm.
And like it just wasn't doing anything for us and it wasn't having any discernible impact. And I was kind of frustrated with it. And I realized we were checking all the boxes except the boxes that matter. And the ones that matter are almost always around resonance. Like, are people passionately engaging with this? Do we have what my friend Jay Akunzo calls it's his like metric for success is URR, unsolicited reply rate. I'm not asking you to reply. I'm not asking you to comment, but how many times are people just raving like replies back to me? That's how I know it's working.